Hey, coffee experts. Those of you running independent coffee shops, you're always looking for ways that you can drop your costs. And we here at the Coffee Experts Club really understand that. And so we've started something called Indie Coffee Coalition. And what it's designed to do is to drop your costs on two of the things that you're probably experiencing the highest sales volume in your store. And that is energy drink and frat mix. Those two line items, we've created our own products and are offering you those products at a reduced cost so that you can cut out the Red Bull of America. You can cut out the main lines of energy drinks that you're doing and serve your own energy drink at a reduced cost on a line item that you're probably already making a lot of sales on anyway. The best way that you can grow sales is by dropping your costs and maintaining a current volume. So check us out at indiecoffee.co and we'll love to tell you more there.
Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club, where we discuss all of the insights, expertise, and drama that goes into making your passion your profession. Our hosts, Aaron, Ben, and Drew, are three coffee experts who have taken their coffee experience and turned it into true expertise. They have consulted with major coffee brands throughout the United States and beyond, providing operations expertise and growth strategy for drive-through openings, multiple locations, and everything in between. So brew yourself a cup and hang out a bit with the Coffee Experts Club.
Yes, Coffee Experts Club. Good to see everybody. Ben, Drew, excellent to see you two gentlemen. How's the day?
Yeah, it's a good midweek. Feel good today.
Yeah, I love that.
Been a nice cool day here. 82, 83 degrees. Beautiful.
100% humidity.
That's about the same.
Man, Coffee Experts, we appreciate you joining us. Coffee Experts Club's all about those of you out there thinking about starting a coffee business or early in the coffee forming business, especially in regards to drive-throughs and things that you should be considering when it comes to how do you set up your business and what are the pitfalls you could fall into in setting up that business? And what are some things you need to be thinking about downstream? If you have more than one or two or three drive-throughs, we absolutely deal with topics like that, but these podcasts are specifically to be wrapped around those coming into the business, starting their own thing, and having questions about how they should set it up. Maybe you've seen somebody else set it up, but how much experience have you had at that? How many different under the hoods have you been through? How many different businesses? For us, we've helped dozens of coffee businesses start their own drive-throughs, and we're really versed and experienced with what works and what doesn't. So today we thought we would talk about communication. We talked a little bit about last week of how you're communicating with your teams, the communication cadences, the platforms. And we thought we'd pick up on like a part two of when it comes to quality control, some of the benefits of setting up a proper communication channel and platform. So let's kick it off, boys. This came up this week because we had some vendor issues come up within WhatsApp. We had some team accountability issues come up within WhatsApp. For us, we use WhatsApp as a platform because, largely we're in a third world country where everybody has WhatsApp on their phone. That's the main source of communication rather than something like text or maybe a Slack or something up here in the States. Boxer might be. WhatsApp's universal. So we use WhatsApp. So frame it up a little bit for us. What have we been going up against and what have we been seeing and how have we been quality controlling?
Well, let me just preface this statement by we don't know how good we have it in the US. And by that, I mean, most of the businesses that we work with in the States, as far as vendors, suppliers, even technicians, these are businesses that have been either around for a long time or have been built off of a framework of a business that's been around for a long time. So they're working with a lot of history of organization, structure, shifting, evolution as things have changed. The businesses have had to change. And so what we work with today is the most probably evolved version of data tracking, inventory management, between shipping. And I mean, we can get something from Amazon in a day. You know what I mean? So we're very spoiled. We don't know how good we have it. Now, that being said, down here in Belize, it has been another type of struggle.
Well,
Wishing platforms between ourselves and are you guys getting what I'm saying?
I lost you for a second.
I think you did it on purpose. I think it's a purposed like stall for the sake of trying to build high anticipation about what you're going to say next. So you said down in Belize, it's a little bit of a different story. And then you entered into your spiel.
Yeah. We as a business have had to set up communication platforms between ourselves and basically every vendor that we work with. There's no automated invoicing system. There's no accountability system from their side to our side. Everything that we do, we've had to set up a process for tracking to make sure things make it from point A to point B, or from point A to point B to point C to point D, because
that's right.
It's kind of a complicated system. So that being said, when we talk about holding people accountable, it's not just our internal team, but it does start there because I don't want to have to manage all our vendors, right? So if our internal team is structured nicely, then they can manage our vendors for me. And how we set up those systems will change and evolve. But again, today, us, we're as evolved as we've ever been as a business. So I would suggest looking forward at any time. At any time that you're setting up an account with a vendor or a relationship with somebody new in the business, look forward to how you can not only hold yourself accountable, but how you can hold them accountable as well.
I mean, we would see that issue in the States, obviously not nearly to the extent that you guys have to deal with it, but
Yep.
I mean, your vendors will even just make mistakes. You know, your dry goods vendor will say, "Hey, you ordered 30 cartons of strawberry smoothie mix, and unless you have some verification of, hey, actually, I have this in the email that I sent you, the invoice I requested, it says 3, not 30. You can't charge me for 30 cases. Sorry, buddy."
Yep.
Like mistakes will happen, and of course, hopefully you have a good relationship with your vendor. I mean, that's why I think part of the reason why we always advocate for, if you can get a vendor that's local to you, a mom and pop that does a good job, somebody that's not like a nationwide chain here in the US, then you can build a good rapport and a good relationship with them. So there's not as much of that. Yeah, but are you just trying to, squeeze another penny out of me? Are you being shady? It's more like, oh, you made a mistake. I understand. We have a really good relationship. So I'm not gonna immediately think that you're just trying to scam me. But like I said, even in the US, you have to have those sorts of checks and balances. Luckily for us, it's easier. Like I email you an invoice, you email one back, and it's on paper there. Whereas, it sounds like for you guys, it's more of like a WhatsApp text message back and forth to me.
I think that when it comes to either in the States, because obviously we do a lot of this kind of management for coffee shops in the States too, when it comes to vendor management and how we're paying people, we have a whole finance arm here at the Collab team where we actually manage the finances for coffee shops and then give them reports at the end of the month and handle all their bill payments to vendors. And so I think that we're under the hood of a lot of different coffee shops doing a very similar thing. And what I can say about all of this is I think the two things that are most important is that number one, you establish your standards and expectations, right? That this is how we work as a business. And so if I go and I contract with a vendor, that's fine. Like I'll work with them as much as I can within their parameters. But in the end, we're the customer. Like they're going to be providing us a service. And so we have a standard of how we pay, for example. It's a
Mhm.
great example, right? Like in Belize, the beauty and the curse is the banking system in Belize has a lockdown and there's no electronic payments made outside of Belize Bank or the banks in Belize taking some part of the pie, right? So you can only
Wow.
do electronic transfers from your bank accounts. You can't do, I'm going to send you an invoice that you can pay by clicking a button. That doesn't happen yet in Belize. Like that's because Belize Bank would lose control of that percentage that they want to keep, right? So the nice thing about that is that nobody just has your card on file, right? I will say the downside to even here up in the States, we have vendors that are like, hey, I don't really want to pay the electronic fees. So I'd like just to keep a card on file for you to hit as invoices come. Well, that makes me really uncomfortable, So I've had to push back with several vendors of, hey, listen, I understand why you don't want that. I would say like we'd rather pay to play. Yeah, I mean, I would rather know that I have control over paying your invoice rather than you hitting my account or hitting my card whenever you feel like it for whatever you feel like doing it. Because you can throw us into a tailspin really quick if you accidentally charge us twice. Or if we get in some sort of battle back and forth and you just start hitting my card for things, I lose control. And so I think coming up with what are the standards, what are the expectations? And we've had to set some really firm expectations, even down in Belize of, hey, I understand that's what you want. We pay on Fridays. I understand that's what you want, but this is how we do it here for the sake of checks and balances. So number one is standards, like create a standard that's going to work and something that you do every time, because the worst thing you could do is something different with every single vendor, something different, like a different pay cadence, a different means of pay. Like it's all over the freaking place. And then it's scrambly as hell. And then it's irreplicable. Like you can't ever pass those duties on to somebody else because you don't even know what the cadence is. People are hitting you with invoices expecting to be paid same day. And it's like, no, no, no. Send me your invoice whenever you want, but we pay on this day, or we pay the every other week with just like we do payroll, like coming up with some sort of pay cadence and expectations. But then I think, like you guys both said, is creating a channel of communication. So what we've done with WhatsApp and vendors down in Belize, like your suggestion, Ben, is like create a channel of communication. Like, how do I communicate with this vendor? And I would say how could I make it so it's not just me as the owner, right? Like I want to empower other people. So the nice thing about a WhatsApp group is I can pull in Faith from the finance side. I can pull in David from the logistics side. And then Drew or I can also sit in there. But then David and Faith can check and balance each other on what's showing up where and who do we owe what before payment's made. But then all Drew and I are in there doing is keeping an eye on it and saying something when we see something that seems out of line, which I would highly advocate for. So create your standards, like, and create the expectations. And then also, what's the communication cadence and how can I bring somebody else in so it doesn't just come down to me and I become the choking point as the leader?
Mhm. Yeah, and don't be afraid to leverage your buying power, especially once you get to that 3, 4, 5 locations. You start to become a very lucrative customer for these vendors,
Mhm.
and they like the amount of revenue that you bring in. So don't forget that that gives you leverage in what you're requesting. If your standards need to change, if you know if you have to move your invoicing or pay dates, just remember that you have leverage and you can go to them and say, "Hey, look, we're making a shift in the company. We're having to move our paid invoices to every other Thursday. I know that we've been doing every other Monday, but we need to move it to Thursday now. We'd love to keep you on as a vendor. We would love to keep purchasing our product from you. And if that's okay, can we just make that change?" Don't be afraid to ask that question because you forget that they're like, "Oh, shoot, we want to make sure we can do whatever we can to keep this customer." So it's a win-win relationship when you have that kind of buying leverage or buying power leverage to work with your vendors. They want to keep you as a customer and you don't want to have to go find another vendor. That sucks. So just ask them and leverage what you spend. More times than not, they will be willing to work with your standards however you want them.
Hey, experts, we've got something really awesome that we do here at Coffee Experts Club, and that's called the My First Drive Through Coffee Masterclass. So if you're opening your next coffee shop, I think a lot of times you may think to yourself, I know what goes into opening a coffee shop. I've been doing this for years, but maybe you've been doing it for somebody else. And maybe this is your first option of starting a coffee shop on your own. Or maybe you don't know anything about coffee and you're just like, I'm looking for a good investment opportunity. Starting a coffee shop seems like a good place to put it and you're going to enter into it. But what you don't know is all the things that you don't know, right? And so what we've done with this masterclass is taken behind the scenes, how you find your first location, what you need to be thinking about in finding a location. We give you a gift in the masterclass where it's a step-by-step process of how you're opening your coffee shop, the different checkpoints you need from coming up with your plans and talking with the city and then negotiating a lease. And then how do you build a team and what are the different pieces you need to be thinking about? It's a great masterclass, door to door, start to finish, completely free on opening up your next coffee drive-through. So check it out. It's at myfirstdrivethrough.coffee and it's a great masterclass. You won't regret it. We'll see you on the inside there. It's good. I think too, even just this past week, Drew and I had to have a conversation, and I think it all frames up into this understanding, and it is don't assume everybody knows who you are. I think we're so funny like that with businesses, right? I've got this business. I just assume everybody I'm working with understands what we've been doing and how long we've been doing it and how many locations we've got, right? But the reality is everybody's freaking busy and their business is as crazy as your business is, right? So they don't always know who's coming to them, right? Asking them for something. So sometimes you have to frame it up for them. So just this last week, I had to reach out and say, hey, listen, like as we're reaching out to this first time contact was going to be an upcoming provider. And I just said, hey, I can tell by the way you're talking that you may not know like who we are exactly and what we've been doing. So this is our story. And I just talked to him about, hey, so what we're bringing to Belize is a revolutionary thing. There are no other drive-through coffees in the country of Belize. We're bringing it there. We've opened 3 locations in 2.5 years. This will be our 4th one coming up. What we're bringing there is exciting. We've been doing this for decades here in the States. We're bringing all the magic from the States down to Belize. We're looking for solid partners that are going to want to partner with us on this. As you partner with us, know we're committed to this place. We're opening a 4th location. Locations aren't cheap. But telling them the story a little bit so that it recontextualizes in their mind and they see the value that you bring. And maybe as you're starting your first coffee shop or you're opening your second or third, maybe you're not quite to the point where like Ben was talking about, yeah, buying power because you're buying in quantity. I think even helping frame story for folks, right? Of especially working with another local vendor. Hey, this is our story. This is what we're all about. This is what we're trying to accomplish. Especially like I know for Outsider Coffee here, one of our local coffees, like she's very big into keto, you know what I mean? And healthy, like the stuff that she uses in the shops isn't just something you buy off the shelves. They make a lot of their own syrups. They make a lot of, like they try and be more health conscious, even in the energy drinks they serve. They've really leaned into plant-based stuff so that it's not, like that's been their emphasis. So when you're talking to vendors that you could align with, a lot of times they're going to want to work with like-minded shops, like-minded suppliers.
Mhm.
I mean, so I would say having the conversation, don't be afraid to tell your story. Don't feel like that's you bragging or you like, but I'd say everybody wants to know who they're working with, right? And that's the benefit of working with small, local mom and pop shop stuff, like you're saying, Ben.
Yep.
I think get good at telling your story because you're going to find allies.
Mhm. Yeah, those local vendors, I mean, at the end of the day, if they're in your community, they wanna see your community do well just as much as you do, and they'll be willing to even go a little bit further than they would for somebody who's way outside the community. That if they see that commitment that you have to your community and what you're building around you, it benefits them, it benefits everybody, so they're more willing to just kind of say, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, I will work a little bit harder for you on this thing," or maybe I might spend a little extra time to source that specific product that you can't seem to find everywhere else. If it benefits our group community, then sure, why not?
Yeah.
And I think as you're going through these motions and setting up these steps and building these relationships, mainly what you're doing is shoring up your defenses, for future battles and building, your armory for growth and building confidence in yourself and solidifying your foundation as a business, because it's so much nicer to go into these conversations confident in what we do, confident in our systems. We even stress tested and some of them are broken, but that only made it stronger when we rebuilt it, and if you're not thinking through how to innovate, even as something as simple as your communication patterns internally, your communication patterns with your vendors, it's harder to go take those big steps. They are more like dreams, but once you start solidifying these basic things, these elements of the business that are necessary for it to function, it becomes more of a reality. It becomes more of like a logical next step. It's like, okay, obviously the next thing we're going to do is XYZ because we've been doing, ABC for the last few years. So logically, that's
Right.
where we go next. And so doing these things, building these relationships, building these systems, kind of guides your business into the next healthy step that I should think.
Yeah, that
I would say,
reminds me of our one of our vendors we had at Roasters who they were our linen vendor. So they'd come through and pick up all the towels and rags and they were our, sort of a courier too. They would take them, clean them, bring them back. So we always had clean towels. And our rep with that company was so awesome about just check-ins, just communication, and I knew, I'd get a message from him about, once a month, "Hey, checking in, just wanna make sure everything's going good, still happy with the service." "Yeah, yeah, yeah, service is great, awesome, thank you." I'd make sure to let him know, 3, 5 months in advance, "Hey, we've got a new location coming up, we'll probably need these many towels, this many mats." And we had a really good symbiotic relationship where it's like I was always feeding him information, he was always checking in for information, and every time we opened that new location, he'd come in and he'd say, "Hey, got you a new contract here. Just want to let you've been a customer of ours for the last 10 years, so we're keeping you at your original 10-year contract price." They could have raised prices on us 5, 6, 7, 8 times over the past, but because had such a good relationship and had that constant communication back and forth, he was willing to keep our contract the same as when we first opened our first location going into our 10th, 11th location, just because we were such a good customer. And don't discount those types of relationships you have with your vendors. And on that note, that constant communication of, hey, vendor, dry goods vendor, dairy vendor, FYI, we've got a new location coming up. I don't want to, just kind of blindside you with the fact that I'm going to be ordering 1,000 gallons of milk out of the blue, right? Because that sucks as a vendor too. If you're a dairy vendor and you're like, wait, what? All of a sudden I've got to like add a new truck to my route. I mean, that sucks to get that order the day before it happens. So as a good customer, you can give them that information ahead of time and I scratch your back, you scratch my back.
that's really good. It's really good. And I think, we started this talking about like creating like these channels within WhatsApp with the vendors, because that's our communication channel. We talked a little bit about creating a standard and expectation, and then how communication really is king, right? Like us talking back and forth, like make sure we keep it open, make sure we like what you just said, Ben, is great. We also will do that. Let's make it very, very practical. We'll create expectations and standards around chores, right? That's something else I watch a lot of coffee shops really struggle with, of how do we make sure people are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing consistently, right? And so part of that is, hey, so we have these checklists, and the things that we see the kids have a hard time doing consistently, we make them take pictures, right? So chore checklists, take a picture of the chore checklist when you've committed all your stuff, take pictures of these problem areas that we've had consistently and send them through at this particular day on this particular cadence. That way we know everything got done. And I know because we've set that as the standard and explained the expectation, it now allows, like Drew has had to drop the hammer on a couple of stores this last week on, hey, so no chore got done this week. I haven't seen pictures. Hey, no, I didn't see the checklist done. Don't forget this, what's important, because we've created an expectation, set the standard. And now all it requires is it coming through? If it's not coming through, it's really clear to realize, wait a minute, that's not coming through. Let's nudge. And then that gives you the grounds of, okay, so who do we need to write up? I mean, because if it's consistently this person or these people that aren't doing what the expectation is, then that gives you the grounds for a write-up, instead of just one day you're just freaking pissed and you blow your lid and you fall and yell and scream and give people write-ups and they're like, wow, what crawled up that guy and died? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's it's that there are standards. You understand the expectation. When you don't do it, there's a consequence. We gave you a verbal, now it comes a write-up, and then you get 3 strikes and you have the opportunity to let them go if they're not going to abide by it. But a lot of that can just come down to plain old-fashioned communication based upon standards and expectations.
And we've talked about it a lot with internal team, of that measure of accountability, and just the act of you saying, hey, I care about this, will make them care about it, because they go, oh, wait, that's actually important. You know, we talked about a lot of, like with inventory, when you say, hey, by the way, we're going to start counting how many cans of energy drink we start with every day. It immediately tells everybody, oh, wait, they care about this. Oh, this is important.
That's right.
Same thing with those, whether it's a WhatsApp group or an email or a text. The second that you say, hey, by the way, I care about this thing, this is important, and I want you to as well. And I want you, even if you don't care about it right now, I want you to at least show me that you've done it. It starts to change people's brains and say, oh, wait, they care about this. I should actually care about this too. This is actually important to my job. Otherwise, like you said, you come in every day and the tables are dirty and you're like, why are the tables always dirty? Well, you never really told them that you wanted the tables to be clean. They don't know that. And so if you say, hey, I want the tables to be clean every day, and closers, every night before you leave, send me a picture of the tables, that immediately starts changing habits into what you want them to be doing.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Love it. Awesome, guys. Well, I think we've covered some good stuff today. Coffee experts, I hope that really helped you. I hope the practical examples helped you. You can always reach out to us if you want more suggestions. We would love to send you over screenshots, send you over things that we do for the sake of, we've created a whole sheet on communication cadence, platforms we use, how we work it. I'd love to share that with you. More than welcome to reach out to us on any of the socials and just say communication platforms or communication cadence, and we'll send you over our resource. But so grateful to have you guys. Drew, Ben, excellent to have you guys today. And we'll see you next week here on Coffee Experts Club.
Thanks so much for joining us today. For those of you who are looking to become a coffee expert yourself, we offer an incredible, thorough training online for opening your first coffee drive-thru at www.myfirstdrivethru.coffee.